Welcome back, everyone, to Wires Up TV, where we are breaking down the Rugby League World Cup 2026 to be held in Australia, PNG, and New Zealand, surprisingly. And we're going to break down the draw for you today. Coming off a really cool pack champs, and they had the Ashes. It's a real good time to be thinking ahead to 2026, what will be a massive NRL season, but also to cap it off will be huge to have that World Cup held here, held in Australia. So we're going to break down for you today the pools, the draw, the locations, some interesting locations there, some of the matchups, the key games you really need to be aware of, and the impact they will have on how things will finish up. Who makes the semis? We'll break down the pool structure. It's a little bit a few things to understand there, and then who ultimately will win it. And look, it's looking very likely. You got the Kangaroos there. Kiwis are making a statement, winning the pack champs. There are some, potential options for Samoa for what we've seen. And we'll have to have a look at other teams and just their general tracking in terms of PNG. Could they make a semi-final? Are they actually probably legit winning 3 straight pack champs? They look like they're ready to go up to another level. Could they beat a Tonga or something like that? So there's some things to look at. England, can they turn it around as well? We'll break it all down. But let's start off with Pool A. So it's a 10-team World Cup made up of 3 pools. Well, technically 2 pools, but I'll tell you, the first pool is Pool A, which is made up of Kangaroos, Kiwis, Fiji, and Cook Islands. Now, this kind of pool system, this pool means that 2 top teams will make the semi-finals. So it looks like Australia will be one for sure, and the Kiwis on the current form as well. Do not discredit the Fiji Bati in World Cups. They've even beaten the Kiwis in the quarterfinals. They nearly beat the Kiwis in 2022, so I'm not disregarding them at all. And same for Cook Islands, they'll probably struggle, but specifically Fiji, I feel very disappointed. Or it's a tough ask for them. Any of the 2 teams that were coming in to play against the Kiwis or Kangaroos was always going to be tough. And who's not to say that they can create an upset and maybe they do make it, but the likelihood of them going through is very, very difficult. And that's for any team that comes in and fills those spots. I think, again, this highlights how unfair the draw is, how, there's no kind of balance or equity for each team. It speaks to, just there'll be talks about it and continue to be talks about it, how rugby league is kind of run as an ad hoc system that doesn't provide everyone with the best opportunities to make a semi-final. But that is what it is. You're looking most likely that, look, Fiji is going to struggle and the Kiwis and Kangaroos will win. Whoever wins will determine, obviously, with the location of the semi-final and who they play. We'll get to that very shortly. But let's break down pools B and C. Now, technically, it's just one big pool, but they've broken it down to Pool B and Pool C. And each team in Pool B and Pool C do not play the same team from within their pool. For example, England don't play Toa Samoa. They don't play Lebanon. Likewise, Tonga don't play PNG or France. Pool B will always play teams from Pool C, and likewise Pool C will play teams from Pool B for their 3 games. It will be who the best 2 teams from those 6 teams will be. That those 2 teams will make the semi-final. Again, I go back to equity. It's not the most equitable way to win a pool. It's just 6 teams playing each other, and whoever wins, goes through. So, and if you broke it down the other way, you had to have either England or Tonga in one of the pools. And say if you had to say England and Tonga in Pool B and Samoa and the others, that meant, and if they had it where you went your Pool 1, it meant maybe England made it through and Tonga missed out, and Samoa made it through because they won Pool C. Or likewise in this situation, Pool B, you got England, Samoa. Say if there was Pool 1, one winner from Pool B goes through, and one winner from Pool C goes through, it's probably going to be England and Tonga, and Samoa misses out, and they're a really, really good side. Again, I just go back to equity. I don't think this is an equitable system, but it is what it is. It's going to be tough for the likes of the Cedars to make it out. PNG, I think they might be a dark horse if you're going to take a bet on something crazy. Who knows what they can do? France, they'll probably not get out for sure, but I'm interested to see how they go. But England, Samoa, and Tonga. That matchup between Tonga and Samoa is going to have a massive impact on who gets that second spot. I think England have got, well, if they lose to Tonga, then that adds another caveat in the system, and you start going against points for and against. So those three teams are definitely, obviously, going to make it through, in my opinion. But points differential will play its game. Let's look now to the round one, and we'll break down the first game is Kangaroos Kiwis. Pool A matchup that will be played at Allianz Stadium to start the game off. Yeah, a blockbuster, and you're thinking off the bat, this is a great way to start the tournament. And I suppose that's the intention of this 10-team World Cup. They're using a similar model to the 2008, where you had matchups that could sell stadiums out, that sells the TV rights. TV rights apparently in Australia just sold for 12 million. So you're trying to make money from this tournament. This tournament isn't about equity as such; it's about getting the best matchups and watching them on TV. Then you got, and for me personally in that situation, Kangaroos at home will probably start strong, probably win that. Tour Samoa versus France at Combank. I know after what Tour Samoa have done at the Pac Champs, you're thinking they'll go strong there and win that game. France, I'm interested to see how they're going. They got Toulouse and Catalans in the Super League now. It's time to show what talents they have over in France. But again, because Tour Samoa did so well at Combank, I'm sure that will probably go close to a sellout. You won't get much fans from France, but anyway, I think there's a pretty decent matchups at decent locations. PNG Commonwealth versus Lebanon. This will be a great match. At PNG, and PNG at home are very, very good, aren't they? So I'm expecting them to come and dominate this one. Lebanon, it's very. I mean, I got my critique over Lebanon. They haven't done anything really from what I've seen in terms of international games. Literally, they've made it because the IRL was lazy to create a quarterfinals. Whoever made the quarterfinals of the last World Cup or automatic qualification. They didn't take into effect that teams like Lebanon aren't full members, from what I understand. Their domestic system is all over the shop. I'm not sure when the last time Lebanon played an actual test. So again, that puts into disrepute the equity of the system and how flawed it is. But nonetheless, Lebanon are there. But I expect PNG at home to do a decent job there. But Lebanon will always call on the players that they have in the NRL. So it won't be an easy match, but I think Lebanon will have a good showing. Then you got England versus Tonga. That's a good one you want to see straight off the bat. It's in Perth of all places. Again, it kind of nullifies the Tongan crowd. Although a lot of Tongans will probably be in Perth, I'm sure the Tongan faithful, Mate Mao Tonga, will travel, so they'll probably sell it out in the end. But it's a difficult task to get them over there. Maybe you get more neutral fans in Perth, maybe just NRL fans in general, and it goes hand in hand with the Perth Bears coming in the following year. They'll want to make kind of an impact as they lead into that. Then you got the Fiji, Bati, and Cook Islands at McDonald Jones Stadium, and I think Newcastle's a great spot for footy. Look, they always support footy in the Hunter there, and they'll get a good turnout there. It might not sell out, but at least that will be a good matchup to see Bati versus Cook Islands. I think Bati have traditionally had over Cook Islands. I know Cook Islands in the Pac Champs of recent years has really, really struggled. So I expect the Fiji will probably win that game. Some decent places. Again, it's hard to kind of say what's just a bad location, but nonetheless, it's there's some good tasty matchups there. You can't get everything that you want. There are some poorer teams in this competition. I mean, the top Kangaroos, Kiwis, England, Samoa, Tonga, those are great teams. PNG a little bit of a drop off. Then Fiji. Then you're probably looking at France underneath that, Cedars and Cook Islands. So top 5, look, they'll be good. You'll get some good matchups throughout the tournament, but overall, that's probably the best we can do, and the locations seem very, very good as well. Going into round 2, you got Tonga versus Lebanon at Combank. And again, Combank getting another game here. I think Tonga will sell it out, obviously, but the Lebanese community, obviously in and around Bankstown and just Sydney in general, they'll no doubt be there. So that will be a sellout from what I imagine. And at Combank Sydney, it's a great stadium. I mean, it's held the Pac Champs 2 times in a row, and it just looks fantastic when it's a sea of red or a sea of blue or whatever color it is. It's great to see, and I think that would be a really good place to have the game. PNG Kumals versus Toa Samoa. This could be a tricky game for Toa Samoa. Going over to PNG, that crowd, if they've come off a week of beating, the previous team, they'll be pumped to want to play. Say if they beat Lebanon and they're back at home and Toa Samoa have to travel, it could be a tricky game. I expect Toa Samoa to win, obviously, but PNG, there is a dark horse element to them that if they can get everything right, they get the support at home. They've proven that they're 3 times Pac Champs Cup plate winners. There might be a chance for an outside upset there. Then you go England, France again, and this will be the second game for England at HBF Park in Perth. You expect England will dominate that. They've had the wood over France for a long time now. The game in France, with the impact of the Vicky government from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's the game has dwindled there. It isn't in a great state, but you're hoping France can just throw something at them, maybe at a neutral ground, but you expect England just to do that one. Now, this is a really cool one, and wasn't expecting this, was the Kiwis versus Cook Islands at 1NZ in Christchurch. Was not expecting that, but it's really cool that they're pushing 1NZ Stadium to Kaha Stadium in Christchurch. The Warriors will obviously be there next year, so getting another rugby league match there in a great venue, I'm no doubt will be well. The opponent, the Cook Islands, though, isn't the strongest opponent, so maybe that says it might not be a seller. If they had maybe Fiji there, it might have done a little bit better. But nonetheless, the Kiwis, they need to really be hitting the ground running by that point. You kind of settled in, you played the Kangaroos previously. But for everyone in Christchurch, I'd be imploring everyone to get out there. Then you got the Kangaroos and Fiji Bati at Suncorp Stadium, Brisbane. I have no doubt they will sell well. Maybe not a sellout, but you expect the Kangaroos to do Fiji quite well there. And, with the likes of Reece Walsh and all the Broncos players, I imagine they'll go close to, selling out there or doing really well. So that's week 2. Look, there's some decent matchups there. Week 3 is when it really starts to get spicy, especially in terms of the last game of the round. But England versus PNG Kumals, I'm a bit disappointed this game is at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. I'm not sure why. Would have loved to have had that at Santos Stadium and PNG just stay all 3 rounds in PNG. And look, they beat Great Britain, if I can remember, in 2019 over in PNG. So I'm thinking England might have got their hand up to say, hey, we want something in a neutral venue. But nonetheless, you're thinking PNG, if they can have a good showing there, there's potential for PNG, again, with PNG Chiefs coming into the NRL comp. You want to start to see the future of PNG as becoming one of the really top 5, top 6 countries. Then you got the Kiwis versus Fiji Bati at Seabus Stadium in Gold Coast. I'm not sure about this one. Again, would have loved to have seen that at Eden Park. I mean, if you're going to Christchurch, and it's, why not go stay in Auckland? Interesting one there when the tournament's technically under Australia and PNG. But they've gone to Seabus. Massive Warriors fans obviously out that way. They'll get a big turnout there. And likewise, Fiji, I'm no doubt will be good. This is a tricky game for Kiwis. If we go from World Cup performances, Kiwis versus Fiji, they haven't had the best performance again. There's something about Fiji that matches up well with the Kiwis. But if I'm a Kiwis fan, which I am, I'm expecting them to really turn it on by that stage in preparation for semi-finals. Then you got Kangaroos, Cook Islands. It'll be interesting who plays on what strip there. I'd love to see a Kangaroos away jersey there, just for variety, but you're expecting they'll dominate that at QCB Stadium in Townsville. Townsville has been a kind of a popular location for Kangaroos games. So I've no doubt they'll probably go close to a sellout or sell well there. Then you got Lebanon, France. This is kind of a matchup to see who's the best of the bottom. Would love France, who obviously a traditional rugby league nation. Lebanon, more of a heritage team. Would love to see that France win that. But with Lebanon, with their fan base, obviously they'll get a lot of support at Combank. Would have loved to have seen that at their own stadium, where they could get along and get all their fans with the drums to sell out, similar to a Tonga Samoa. They've got the same type of fan base in terms of passion and love. It's just I'm a bit surprised they tied them up with such a powerful game with Tonga and Samoa. But anyway, that leads into Tonga versus Samoa at Combank Stadium. This could have been done at a core. I think you probably would have got 50,000. The fact they're going with Tonga Samoa is a little bit safe, and probably again goes back to money. Combank wanted a certain X amount of games, and they gave them a blockbuster there. But that will have massive implications on who will make it into the semi-final, because that's quite tough for Tonga to play England and Samoa. But likewise, if they beat one of them, that almost grants them an opportunity into that semi-final spot. But the rest of the matchups are for Kangaroos. It's preparation for a semi. Kiwis kind of preparation, but then you got the Fiji and PNGs that are looking for something to potentially get out a semi-final spot. PNG would love it for them. Would love for them to kind of push on. 3 times pack champs. It probably won't happen, but you can always have a dream. The Tongans had their dream run 2017. Samoa had their dream run 2022. 26 is at the year of the Kumu. I'd love to see it, especially for their fans, just how hardcore they are and all those things. But let's get to the semi-finals and finals. Now, this is not confirmed. Don't quote me on this. But from what I understand, the runner-up, I think, is going to go play this way. They didn't state it on the website, but the runner-up of Group A, I think, obviously plays winner of Group B and C, and they'll play at McDonald Jones Stadium. I think that no matter if the Kangaroos lose to the Kiwis and say Kiwis are winner of Group A, I think the Kangaroos, whichever one they are at, whichever if they come if they come runner up or winner of Group A, they'll definitely play at Allianz Stadium for a semi-final with the Kangaroos in it. So I'm expecting McDonald Jones Stadium. That will be for the runner-up, say if that's the Kiwis, and then the winner of Group B and C, or whoever's the top one of Group B and C. Let's say that's England, just for example's sake, then that's where they'll play that. And then the winner of Group A, which let's just use the Kangaroos for now, they'll play the runner-up of Group B and C. Let's say that's Samoa. They'll be at Allianz Stadium. So those are your 2 locations in New South Wales. So that will determine who obviously makes the grand final. Then you're going to go winner of that is at Suncorp Stadium. And Suncorp's been the kind of a home of rugby league grand finals since I've known it. So 2008, 2017, those were the 2 places to have the grand final. It usually sells out. I imagine with either any of those teams, Kangaroos, Kiwis, or if you go Kangaroos, Samoa, or Kangaroos, England, it should get close to 50,000. So upon reflection, who will win it? Kiwis will win it? Nah, I'd love to. After what they've done with the Pac Champs, they look at a strong option. It's always Kangaroos. They're the top team and have been the premier team for the last 70 to 80 years. So you can't go far from that. But we'd love to see some Smokies for semi-finalists at least. But my overall critique on this World Cup, I think it's clear they've gone just to make money. To shorten the World Cup from 16 teams to 10. The intention of that is to cut costs and to maximize profits. For what? For the IRL to be able to have money in the bank to obviously grow the game or put money and investment into other things as part of their remit. But also for the next World Cup to kind of really start to continue to make money, as this World Cup, if you don't know, will have women's and wheelchair games. This will be the last time though, so the next World Cup in 2030 will be just them 10, or it might be 10 teams. I'm not sure if we'll go to 12 or 14 or whatever, but I suppose with that means that they got a bit more mobility in terms of they can go to a place like America and hold a 10-team World Cup, and the overheads won't be massive. But again, us as fans, and if we are truly to be a global game, you want to see more teams play, even if there are blowouts and things like that. I think they've gone for obviously a TV product that will provide close to reasonable close games to keep viewers engaged. I understand that, but there has to come a point where you actually have to say, look, we're going to grow the game through our World Cup system to bring new teams, new cultures, to get away from just playing it in Australia, New Zealand, and England. Get away from those traditional markets and start to really grow the game. Why can't we have a World Cup in Japan? Why can't we have a World Cup in America or somewhere different, Asia, Europe, somewhere else? So those are things that if I'm as a rugby league internationalist fan, I love to see them grow that space into different spaces. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Do you like it? I think it's going to be a really good World Cup. There's some great matchups. You can't get the best of everything you want, obviously, but for what it is, look, it's great for what it is. And this is me being realistic as a rugby league fan. We're not a fully international game, but we're not a fully like an AFL who don't have an international game. We're not like them. We're more than that. So I love the quote that I heard good old Shamus say. You don't have to be better than rugby union. You just have to be better than what you were. I'm hoping that after this World Cup, we just continue to grow and develop the international game. Sounds like Volandis and Abdo want to shrink a little bit of the international, the NRL season. I don't think it should shrink too much, maybe a round or two, to add a few more international games and slowly grow it over time. But this is a good start. I'm no doubt with Volandis and Abdo running this from an ARLC point of view. It should do well monetarily wise. I saw they've already got travel packages. The games are quite cheap, so you can get your tickets now. I have no doubt it will sell well and make it a great event. But I want to see the game grow globally into different markets over time. Anyway, guys, there you have it. We'll continue to monitor the international game over next season. But hit us a like and subscribe to Wise Up TV for more Warriors content, obviously coming over off season, but more international stuff as well, NRL in general. So stay safe, enjoy the good weather if it is hitting you, and we'll catch you later. Peace.